What's up, people? Dave, SVA Baseball Card Collectors. Been watching some Gary V. And Gary V has been talking up some baseball cards. And he's thinking that it's going to be the next big thing since sliced bread. All the sneakerheads are now going to come jump on baseball cards. Now, I've started my podcast back in January, and I had a good idea that this was happening. I saw when I went on the Facebook, I started getting back into baseball cards around October, November of last year. I gotta drive a little bit fast because this person doesn't know what they're doing here. And so as I was collecting and talking to people and see how it was going, it was a lot of people like me talking about it, trying to get back in, just getting started. It was a lot. So I decided to do a podcast to basically whatever I'm learning, just share it with everyone, especially people new coming in, so they have a spot to go to. And it was obvious to me, at least, that this is going to start getting bigger and bigger. Now, Gary V, he made a comment on the Rich Eisen show, and now he just released a video today talking about how he bought 100 Giannis, the guy from the Milwaukee Bucks, his rookie card for $150, and now at $360. Now, not everyone can drop $10,000 on basketball cards, but what he was saying is it's only going to get bigger. It doubled in price. You just need to know what you're looking for. You need to see you need to know what's on the price. He said he bought a bunch of Michael Jordan rookie cards for $2,500, and now they're $5,000-$6,000. If you have that money, yeah. If you have that much money, yeah, you're gonna make bank, bro. But there are plenty of deals out there, and if you do your research, you're gonna be able to find a ton of stuff. I would suggest, if you're getting back into it, you can stick with the cards that you know and just learn about PSA grading. PSA grading is now more dominant than when we were collecting, back in the early to mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, going to mid 90s. During that time, you just looked at a card, and if it looked sharp, it looked good, you were all right. This is near mint to mint. There was no, it was grading, but nobody gives a shit. So now grading matters. And there's a ton of cards in the 80s that are now worth a lot of money. Shouldn't say a ton. There's particular rookie cards that, if graded high, are worth a lot of money. But not as much money as a prospect. A prospect now, because the autographs they've changed it up. So now they have different colors, and each color signifies how many they made. So a purple one, they only made 250, a green 99, a gold 50, an orange 25, a red 5, and then there's a 1 of 1. I might have missed another one. They now have a sparkle type card, and it's like a weird odd number. It's like 77 or 79, not 75. So that's it. If you have a green card, there's only 99 of these ever made. And so the price is going to be based off of that and the prospect. And the big thing to collect now is first Bauman cards. So right now, 2019 Bauman came out, and Wander Franco is the next big deal. He's hitting like crap, but it doesn't matter. The perception is that he is going to be the next big thing. He's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's coming up with the Toronto Blue Jays. His cards are now selling for thousands. You have some that have sold for $4,000 or $5,000, and those are the lower numbered cards. Maybe a red where there's only 5 of them, or an orange where there's only 25 of them. And he's never played an inning in Major League Baseball. He's barely played minor league baseball. So imagine if people are paying that much, what people will pay for somebody who is good. For example, you now have Mike Trout. His standard, itchy nose. Mike Trout, his rookie card, no autograph, no nothing, is now going for $1,000. He's now one of the best baseball players, in the game right now, and he's working on trying to become the best player of all time. But $1,000 for a non-autograph card. You have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his first Bauman Chrome card. No autograph, no nothing. I think they're still over $100. PSA 10. They have to be graded, of course. And he hasn't played. And it's no autograph, so you can get these cards. It's like they were available in packs. You just need to know that you should save them. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about. Start the cycle. Gary is, if you watch Gary Vaynerchuk, he is a long-term thinker. He thinks long-term. So when he's buying these cards now, I don't think he's planning on selling them soon. Maybe he just doubled his money, so maybe he might do that. But I think he's thinking long-term. And once you start that cycle, you can too. Meaning, you buy 2019 Bauman Chrome. You buy a bunch of first Bauman autos. You do your research. You look at the stats. Maybe you wait a year. I would suggest waiting a year. So maybe you start buying the 2018 Bauman or the first Bauman Chrome cards. So at least you have a little bit of data. You could buy them now and you'll just be guessing because they really haven't, some of these guys haven't played at all. Some of these guys who have a first Bauman card, they've played a couple of years and you'll be able to see if they do good or bad. For example, Cole Tucker just hit a home run for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His rookie card, I believe, was 2014. His Bauman Chrome rookie card. You could have had it for $10. I'm sure it's a lot more now. I mean, he just came up and he was doing well, and you could have gotten a whole slew of his Bauman cards, his first Bauman card autographs, and just no one got it. And there's a ton of these out there. There's plenty of places to look. You have Fangraphs. Fangraphs gives you all the baseball statistics that you're ever going to need, all the stuff that the general managers use, and you go over there and you see their stats, and you see the sabermetric stats as well. I like to look at, do you walk a lot? Do you hit a lot of home runs? Because they tend to like home runs. People tend to like home runs. I got to get some air. I'm dying here. Sorry. You're going to hear a little backdrop. But do people hit a lot of home runs? Do you walk a lot? That means they have a good eye. Do they get on base a lot? I like to see that stuff. Do they hit a lot of doubles? If they're younger players, do they hit a lot of doubles? If that's the case, they're going to bulk up. They're going to get a little bit bigger, you would think. And that will translate into home runs later in their career. Now, that's what I do. I do research. I actually check the top 100 minor league baseball players, and I check the stats, comparing them to the guys that are selling a ton now. Now, not everyone is. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you look at his minor league stats, he is awesome. And his cards are selling for just that. They're selling for thousands of dollars. His just regular base auto. I don't know how many they make out of a base auto, but those are like the run-of-the-mill ones. If you're talking about a 25 or a 5, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. So check their stats compared to other people. Do they have similar stats? If that's the case, maybe that might be a card that you look for. And that's what I did. And that's like Cole Tucker was one guy. I bought 3 of his autographs. Hopefully he does well. Maybe he shits the bed. I don't know. But that's what I would do. You start the cycle. So maybe you start, now that's a 2014 card, but maybe you start 2017 and 2018 and try to buy those up. So then every single year, all of a sudden, you have a group of guys that are either doing bad or you made a bad bet and you can get rid of them. Because making a bad bet at $5 isn't as bad as making a bad bet for $50 or $75, especially when you're starting off and you're trying to learn the game. So I suggest buying the cheaper prospects. Buy a bunch of them. Buy as many as you can. If you want to buy 10 for $10, that's $100. That's not going to kill you. And like I said before, Gary V is taking the long-term approach. He wants his legacy to, he wants a great legacy. And you don't want to flip cards right away. I mean, if you want to make money, you want to make some money and you want to flip them, but he's looking long-term and he's seeing the trend. And he's seeing right now that everyone is going to start going into baseball cards because it's a cheap way to gamble. And you probably have a better chance of hitting something big than you do have going to Vegas. And eventually, at some point, that ain't going to happen, because there's going to be a ton of people using this as an investment vehicle. Because, especially vintage cards, those prices continually go up. They just do. And they've been going up for years. And once people realize it, and once people with money realize it, it's going to start getting more and more expensive. So right now, you're starting to see it go. Gary's going to speed it up, because all his followers are going to start looking into this and start going, oh, maybe I should start getting into it. Or some of them are like him. They were collecting when they were kids, and they got out of it, and now they're getting back into it. I know that's what I was. I actually was commenting on Gary Vee, and this guy hit me up, say, yeah, of course you can flip to make money baseball cards still. And he explained a lot of stuff to me. You now have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have Facebook. There's a ton of things that you can do to ask questions that weren't there back in the day. Back in the day, you had a baseball card show and your card shop, and the card shop was banging you. That's all they were doing. They were trying to take advantage of you. They would search the packs a lot of the times, and if they didn't have a card you were looking for, well, that's it. You didn't get it. With eBay, that all changed. And that's why most of the local card shops or the LCSs, as you might see their acronym, are going by the wayside. Now, not all of them were bad, but a lot of them were. And once they really went heavy and all this stuff was overproduced, that's when they lost their money. And they almost, the industry almost disappeared. It was bad. It was bad, bad, bad. So, I'm almost where I need to be, But I just want to make this video. I think Gary Vee is onto something, because that's what I saw. And I did a podcast, SVA Baseball Card Collectors. It's what I talk about, a lot of stuff. I try to do research. Most of the times people ask questions, and I do research on it so I can learn. And then I just pass the knowledge on to you guys. And I would like to build my legacy. And if my legacy can be helping a bunch of old men get back into a kid's hobby, well, I'll be happy about that. So hit me up, SVA Baseball Card Collectors. I'm on iTunes and Anchor and a bunch of other things. You just hit me up on Google, or look me up on Google, and you'll see it. And I'm also on Instagram and Twitter, but not so much. And hopefully I keep on doing more YouTube videos. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys mañana. Later.